Right, we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world when you are watching this.
Yes.
Welcome to our follow up podcast that we're going to be doing every Friday, which is going to be a general reading from myself on the energies at play. So it's not going to be a specific reading for any one person, it's just going to be a general reading on the energies that are going around the world at the moment so that you know what to take advantage of, what to prepare yourself for if there are challenges on the way, etc. And then Laura, as always, is going to share wonderful, powerful thoughts with us as to how we can stay in a powerful, evolved mindset as we
Nice.
navigate the world around us.
Yes.
Laura,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being again with us today.
Oh,
Yay!
thank you. Yes, I was going to say the ever-changing world around us, as we were just talking about
Yeah,
before we went live, and it's cool, right? It's all good. It's all good. We need that ever-flowing movement because that's who we are. That is what we are. We're ever evolving, vibrating, magnificent creatures, and I think learning to move with that energy is what's going to make a difference for all of us.
absolutely. Because as much as we all would love to be master creators where we literally just think of a universe and we create it instantaneously, we're all still learning. So we are still learning to navigate the river instead of creating it ourselves. So whilst before we get to the stage where we can literally just snap our fingers and create the world that we want to live in, I think it helps to be able to learn to navigate those currents a little bit more effectively.
Absolutely, beautifully said. And to remind this amazing community that we're creating in real time, it's again, it's always happening. Remind yourself that we are creating health, wealth, connectivity, new knowledge. So we really are, in spite of kind of the continuity of the days, we're always pulling in new opportunities to advance the way we are moving through the day. And don't lose sight of that. Listening to this podcast, creating this community along with us. This is human potential in real time. And kind of looking at one another, knowing that there might be little roadblocks and obstacles along the way, but together we're going to keep moving through and learning how to go above, beyond, under, aside, and just keep growing and use the energy to keep expanding. 'Cause that's why we're here.
That's exactly it. Keep expanding, keep evolving, never stop learning, never stop growing.
Yeah.
Just
And
keep on.
always be open. We were just talking about this. Even if you don't quite align or vibe with something that's being said or being offered, use that opportunity to take in that information and learn how to recalibrate it so it does fit something that feels right for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I did this draw.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting draw, which I think every single one is going to be simply because the energy around the planet is never going to be only positive or only negative. It's always going to be a bit of a mixed bag, right? It has to be because it has to challenge for us to grow and it has to provide us support for us to grow. So that's
Nice.
just the nature of things. So the energy for the next 7 days seems to be one of, especially from the spiritual side of the draw. So just for our listeners who don't know how I do a draw, I do what's known as an inverted hexagram, where there's the spiritual energy of the draw, and then there's the physical energy, and then there's the overall advice that
Yeah.
comes out in the center. The spiritual energy seems to indicate that there is going to be a lot of almost attempts for the wool to be pulled over our eyes, as if we're going to be told, just keep your head down and accept what is being told to you. I'm seeing a lot of potentially good news coming out that might not actually be good news, that you're just told is good news. Okay. Um, and this is heavily borne out by, from what I'm getting from the Ace of Cups inverted, The Ace of Cups is normally a wonderful card of blessings, of new beginnings, and all of that kind of stuff. This feels like you're being told it's that, but it's not. That's sort of the energy that I'm getting from that. On the physical side of the draw, I'm sensing a lot of turmoil, a lot, but I sense that that is going to be more in our perceptions than in reality.
Mm.
So, and that comes out very, very strongly actually, where it's going to be a case of you're feeling like things aren't moving ahead the way that they are supposed to be for you, but this is when you actually need to trust that it really is. Okay, it really is going to be okay. It doesn't mean that you believe everything that you hear in terms of, oh, it's all going to be great and all going to be fantastic and amazing, and here's pie in the sky for you. Definitely be a bit more realistic about it. But if you're feeling very heavy, very down, I know that there's talks about a new global recession coming out. There's talks about the war being extended even further in Europe, which is very sad for a lot of people who are engaged in that conflict. The issues with rising inflation across the planet
Yeah.
is a problem for a lot of working class families, right? But then the advice card is, and this comes out so beautifully and so strongly, by the end of the next 7 days, there is such a strong feeling of a new beginning grounded in work that we have already done.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
it feels like just push through. Don't listen to the pie in the sky, things about everything's fine, everything's fine, everything is not fine, okay? But it's not as bad as you feel it is going to be. And the end result is definitely one of, like I say, new beginnings grounded in work that we've already done. And I'm talking about work that a lot of us have done over the last 2, 3 years, right? Inner work and physical work. So that is my energetic reading for the next 7 days.
I love this. I am personally so excited every Friday to have this. I think it's such a unique, empowering experience. And again, for
Thank you.
anyone that doesn't quite understand it or has, doesn't know anything about it, over the time in this community, we will express and explain and travel this together. But for now, when you hear these words, take the words in and let them move you how you need to be moved in the moment. And it's so funny. So I was taking notes while you were reading, and the way it ended is going to so beautifully bookend with the notes. So I was writing, create the new beginning for yourself. So even if the wool is being pulled over our eyes, which we all have experienced that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's falsities being presented in the world, religious leaders, political leaders, or right within
Yeah.
our own families, our own communities. Again, we're here to empower you. So remember that you are in the power seat of choice. And regardless what is being told to you, you can create a new beginning at every turn. So even if something's going on over here, watch it, observe it. Don't put a lot of judgment energy into it. Be
Yeah.
aware that there's a
Yes.
collective flow, but you personally can create a new beginning of any style on any level that you want. Now, the other thing that was really cool is when you went into the perception, and I wrote perception into the reality you would like to experience. So again, at the end, when Stefan said, it's the training, the creation, the work, the grounding that we've put in prior to the reading, prior to what the universe is expressing, prior to everything that everyone's going to tell you. Perception is an individualized experience. Be aware of what you're perceiving, but again, you can recalibrate that perception to experience what you would like. And I thought when you read the end of it, that's exactly what I was writing, even before you said the end. The work that we do together and as individuals is what's going to hold you steady when the outside world is trying to tell you something that you know instinctively maybe isn't quite correct.
And doesn't that tie in so beautifully with what you and I were discussing in our Monday podcast, where we're talking about the highs and lows,
Yeah,
the dips that have to come throughout life.
right.
But at the same time, if you do the work properly, instead of it doing this, it's a general upward trajectory where your lows are higher than your previous high.
Yeah.
And your new highs are these amazing new heights. And it all comes down to the work that you have to continuously put in for your growth, for your expansion, for your evolution. So I think that this is why I love working with you, Laura, because you take the more esoteric side of things that I discuss and you put it into a very easy to understand way, especially for us in the Western world, right? Because energy is not necessarily something that we grow up talking about,
Right.
but we do understand perception. We do understand how we look at things creates our world. We do understand that work needs to be put in. So this is just so
Because
fantastic.
there are so many examples of two people viewing the same experience but feeling completely different. So
Yep.
that's why I want to express to everyone it is perception, and perception is based on patterns, behaviors, algorithms, thought processes from other people. And we want to offer you the support to feel really empowered to change all of that in a way that makes you understand how powerful you all are. So even if we're watching something and it kind of twists you inside out, someone else that maybe has a little bit of gained mastery may not take it the same way because they understand the way I'm perceiving that is going to become a pattern or a thought or a belief. And then I'm going to
Right.
carry on with that. So I'm going to take that perception and I'm going to learn how to use it for my highest and best experiences. And the
Absolutely.
beauty of all of the esoteric, all of the spiritualism, all of the ancient wisdom that we now are going to create into this modern way, right, of exploring our advancement. This is why I love these two worlds, because they really are in sync and they do belong
Yeah,
together. They've always been together. And we're going
absolutely.
to really try to offer, again, a modern way of everyone looking at it so that we can advance together. Because the more people we have empowered, um, I think the more beautiful the world will become.
Oh, absolutely. I think the more that actually that quote is so perfect. The more empowered people there are, the
Mhm.
more beautiful the world will become because more people will be taking responsibility for themselves, for their own happiness, right? And the world, it'll reverberate out. It really will.
Yeah.
Laura, do you have any final thoughts before we close off for today?
Yes, I want to leave everyone with an action step for the next several
Ooh,
days or a few days before we on Monday rather. I want you to again suspend all doubt and all judgment and go through the weekend as an energetic being, knowing that you are in the position to choose negative, positive, or neutral energy. And we will get way into all of this over time. But I want you to know that if you are feeling negative, you have the ability to neutralize negative perception, negative reality, negative thinking, and just neutralize it. And for those of you that already are kind of tapping in and resonating with this, once you neutralize it, I want you to have fun and really pop up into positivity. It could be a thought, it could be a movement, it could just be simple as I was going to eat a bag of potato chips, now I'm going to eat an apple. I know that sounds very simple, but it is. So you start to learn what it feels like to actually use thought to create positive experiences. And this will very nicely move around what we have been offering you today. And through the tarot reading, perception is an individualized journey. So watch what you're perceiving and turn it into something amazing this weekend.
Oh, beautiful. That is so powerful. And that is a perfect place to end today.
Cool.
Laura, thank you so much. And thank you to all our
you.
listeners as well. We look forward to seeing everybody next week. Same time, same place.
See you
Have a
Monday.
good one.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Oh, no, not quite yet.